Okay, Katie, nice to meet you.
Nice
This is
meeting you.
like so fantastic that you've come on today. I just I want to hear a little bit about your story. You were telling me a little bit earlier, but maybe we can kind of go over it for the people who are listening and want to hear about like how you ended up with the G-tube and
Sure. So my name is Katie. I have a daughter named Emerson. We call her Emmy. She's 6 years old. We both have a gene mutation called BPTF, and that's why all of her medical stuff is going on. She has it way more than I do, I'm going to say. I have the learning disability, so does she, but she's got seizures and she's got all her GI issues. She has a G tube. We only use it right now for medicine, so that's good, but she doesn't know how to chew, and that's like by her choosing right now. So it's a slow process of trying to get her to want to chew and eat food. But she takes she'll take pudding by mouth and yogurt and drink her blended food by mouth. Um,
nice.
she's on the autism spectrum. We found
Okay.
out she's ADHD. Um, like I said, the learning disability. I have her in a great school. It's a private school for kids with just IEPs. So there's like 12 kids per class with two special needs teachers per class.
Oh, that's good. So how did you find your school?
Well, actually, my family, my parents were thinking about sending me there forever ago. So, and
Okay.
at the time they only had like one or two campuses, maybe just one campus. They have four campuses now. So,
Okay.
anyways, thinking about putting me there, and then they decided not to. But anyways, when I was pregnant with Emmy, I wanted her to go to a private school because I was Catholic.
Okay.
But this is like, so even if it wasn't a Catholic school, I still would have sent her no matter what religion it was, because it's so nice, because they like want like the kids to succeed.
And so does she have to do any of the G-tube stuff during her school?
No. So last year, I have to think, last year she was using her G tube, but not at school. She would drink it. And at first, we kind of had pressure on it, drink your stuff. And that made her anxiety go up. She's got anxiety too. So we put no pressure on it. And first, she started out drinking just Kate Farms milk because we were just starting to do blended food by mouth. So, and she was able at that time to take her medicine by mouth. So, but they didn't have a real registered nurse. So they couldn't do anything with the G tube. And they kind of want parents to stay out, like not come in and do stuff like that. So with that was like nice. And then last school year I was only tube feeding her last feeding when she got home. And one day I was like, let's try not to use the tube. So we haven't used the tube since.
Nice. Okay, so when did she start using her tube? Was it right after birth, or was this
Half
like
years.
two and a
So
half?
so she was small when she was born, 4 pounds 9 ounces.
Okay.
She was
Was she
smaller
early or just
7 days.
okay?
But this is all like the gene mutation that we didn't know anything about, is just being really small.
Okay. Hit it on the mark. Sorry,
So
Millie's sharing her standard, but she's doing this volume thing. So well. You want to say hi?
hi. Oh, you're so cute.
Universal code. But she likes to keep her volume up, so I may have to switch her out of our sound. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. My daughter would love to talk to your daughter. Emmy loves to talk to people on the phone.
Oh, fun. I know. We need to get something where we can all see all the kiddos.
Yeah. So so she was born only 11 days early, and that was it. So we didn't know about the gene mutation at all. We always had a little bit of stress because like when she was first born, she didn't tell me she was hungry at all. I would have to wake her up and feed her, and that was a process. And then slowly she got to tell me when she was hungry. And she did everything like on her terms. Like she didn't roll over on time, she didn't sit up on time, she didn't do any of her stuff on time. And we had Help Me Grow come in and do all that stuff. And those duck bands, those helmets, she had
Yeah.
three. She had them later in life, so she had them until almost 2. Her duck
Was
band.
it her head shape or what was
Yeah,
the
because she didn't want to move.
okay.
So, and the minute you put her on her belly and she learned how to flip over, she'd flip over on her back and be like, I'm not staying on my belly.
Wow. Millie does that.
Yeah.
Not interested in Millie's not interested at all in.
So then at 13 months, my mom accidentally knocked her head against the wall, not hard or anything. And we were like, okay, this is no big deal. I went to work. It was a weekend, I think, because at the time I was working any days. But anyways, my daughter Emmy started acting funny later in the day. And we were like, oh, this is weird. We think maybe she's having seizures or something. So they picked me up from work and we went to the urgent care and they did like a CT and everything was fine, but they wanted her to spend the night. So we went up to Children's Hospital and they didn't see anything. They were just observing her. So, anyways, long story short, she ended up with seizures, with grand mal seizures. She's had two in her life, but they misdiagnosed her as a concussion because she knocked her head that same day. And no one was believing us that she was like having looking seizures and all that stuff because her GI issues really didn't start until 13 months. So all at like 13 months, everything just like snowblowed.
And is
So,
that a normal thing for that genetic disorder? Like some kind of kick in, and when they kick in, they start to degenerate, right?
well, I don't know because they just diagnosed, like figured out what this gene mutation was a year before Emmy was born in 2017. So it's
Oh,
still, and they don't know a whole lot of stuff.
okay.
So she wasn't sleeping through the night until she was 2. So she was getting up and getting a bottle once through the night. And at like 2, when she stopped doing that, is when we really got worried about food because she didn't want anything to do with food. Like,
Yeah.
no baby food, nothing. She was eating baby food and doing that kind of stuff, but she was throwing up a lot because they were missing the seizure.
Right.
So at 2.5 during the shutdown, she got her G tube. And that was like the best thing we could have ever done. Her speech took off and all that stuff.
Yeah. So once you got the G tube, it seems like things got better.
Yeah, her headaches went away. She had really bad headaches. Her looking seizures went away. Like a
So,
lot of that.
so she has had like two really big seizures, but she has seizures like as a rule, or what do you
Well,
guys do? Do you have medicine that you guys use for seizures?
yeah, she's on Keppra twice a day.
And that's
So,
just always.
yeah, we're trying to switch her because Keppra can cause like bad side effects, and I think she's getting those bad side effects. I mean, you can't tell when she's little, like at 1, because she started at 1 years old on that medicine. So we're thinking that she has more side effects. So I'm waiting for the doctor to call back to see if we could try other medication.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think that's the one we have. So Millie, it looks like she's had a lot of different seizures, but
Mhm.
we've never recorded one. So like kind of the space, like the looking seizures and that kind of thing.
We got like 2. We got 2 on record. And they were like a little iffy, but they weren't believing us on the grand mal seizures or anything because we didn't get those recorded. So the last grand mal seizure, which was a long time ago, but we got that recorded. And then they were like, oh, she does have seizures. She's epileptic. We're like, we've been telling you.
Yeah. So
So
we've
yeah,
done overnight and we've done all sorts of different ones. But we haven't had any recorded. But they did give me because we had something that was a little bit scary a few months ago. And so they gave me something, but I can't remember the name of it right now. I have to go find it. But it's for an emergency.
yeah, we have that too.
Okay, so what's that one called? Do you remember?
Um, I don't remember, but I
It
keep
may
it
be things where
like,
I would never have any association.
yeah. As if you have a seizure, if she has a seizure like lasting 5 minutes or more, is when you give it to her.
That's what. Sorry, she's decided to be upset today. Um, okay, so when you started the G tube, how did you feel about it? Like,
Um, It was stressful. One, it was stressful because it was during the shutdown. So I was the only one in the hospital that was allowed to stay with her. And then my sister was the only one. You picked one other person that could come during the day, and that was it. So
yeah,
like if you like if someone could come like Monday, but then the next person could come Tuesday, it was only one person. That one person could be the only one.
yeah, that's what. So we had that same thing, and that's really super stressful. So my husband never went because I went every day, and
Mhm.
so he never went to the NICU. That was so wild.
Yeah.
Like,
So that
how
was like the hard thing, but it was nice because my sister picked up on how to use the G tube. Like I knew, but like like how to put it in the machine and do all that stuff. So, but it was hard on Emmy because like it was during the shutdown and she was like 2. So that's when you're like trying to socialize and do all that stuff. And the only thing that we went out to do was medical stuff.
yeah,
So
she.
yeah, it was really hard, but we got like the anxiety. We're working on that too. It's a lot better.
Yeah. So does she have a hard time at Dr. Still? Does she get any sort of medical anxiety?
Yeah, we tried I think it was Prozac or something. She was on that for like a month and that was like bad. It like made her like angry and all that stuff. So we took her off that. But yeah, we did because like so when the shutdown kind of like opened up and you were able to go back out and do things, she would get so anxious that she would cry and throw up before we go anywhere because she didn't want to go anywhere. So her anxiety's still there, but nowhere near as bad as what it was. But we went out and we got help from the county and we got like it was called oh now what is it? Oh, I can't think of what it's called, but Ohio Guidestone, that was it. It's like through the county and like they help with like therapies and stuff. And so they were able to help us with that. I can't hear her. So
Oh, she keeps turning the volume on. It's so loud. Okay, good. I'm glad you can't hear.
no, I can't. Even if I did, it wouldn't bother me.
Sorry, she's so funny today. She's like really on. But so, where do you live?
I live in Sagamore Hills. So that's Ohio. I live in Cleveland, close to Cleveland and Akron. We're in the middle of Cleveland and Akron. Your son really liked LeBron James, and I went to school with him.
You went to school with LeBron James? Wow. Yeah, that's like his favorite.
I was like 2 years ahead of him, and my brother was in the same class because my brother went to school too there. Same thing. Mhm.
Wow, that's okay. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Just put it a little bit further because she's got it so loud I can't hear. And she won't stop. She's like, got it that way. Okay, so in Ohio, how do you feel like the services are?
So I'm with Summit County. I'm pretty okay. I think the only thing that was rough is that when you come encounter, so Emmy was diagnosed with autism. They
Right.
didn't like levels or anything, but just on the autism spectrum. And it's hard when you encounter doctors or teachers and they go, "Oh, she doesn't have autism," but she does.
Right.
Like so that's hard. But other than that, I think I haven't like really had like any issues because like we've tried to do ABA and then we were like, that's not for us. And like, so like we've been flip flopping. We've never done ABA, but we're doing is called talk therapy, like a play therapy to help with her behaviors and stuff. So we've decided to go that role because we did do a feeding um therapy where it was very strict, very rigid. This is how it is. This is what it's going to be. And that's not Emmy.
Yeah,
Like that. So, and it was terrible. So like I would never do something like that. But like I think it was like where I am is good because I was telling you about her school. There's 4 campuses. And so if we decide to switch her to the campus closer to us, we can. So it's kind of like we have Akron that's like 20, 30 minutes away. There's campus there. Brecksville's like 15 minutes. And then my daughter goes to Lyndhurst and that's like maybe not even 45 minutes away. So
okay. So they have lots of options. And this school, you said it has everybody has an IEP.
correct. So you don't have to have autism, you have to have an IEP. And so then another thing is that you have to go in and they like test you to see if they'd be able to help you in the school. So it's kind of like one of those things either you get in or you get out or like you don't get in. And there's wait lists and stuff.
Right. Well, that's great. You got in it. Was it pretty easy to get in or no?
I wasn't able to be in the classroom. So what they do is they take the kids and there could be like a group of like 12 kids. And so they will kindergarten won't so Emmy went in for kindergarten screening. So they didn't have the kindergarten class there. So they only have one grade per class. Like so like if you have like if you're in first grade, there's only 12 kids in that first grade class. There's not another class.
Another. Okay. And that's why they have 4 campuses. So they have 4 different options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool. What's the name of this school?
Julie Billiard.
That's awesome. And it's Catholic also.
Yeah. So that was just an extra plus.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so
Mm-hmm.
what kind of help do you have around? Like you mentioned your sister. Do you have other people around?
So I'm a single mom. I've been a single mom since Emmy was 13 months old. I live at home. I've always lived at home, like even when I was pregnant with my older sister and my mom. And we have a dog, but anyways, that's like besides the point. But so yeah, so they help. So when I first had Emmy, I work in a grocery store. I work in the bakery and I've worked there for like come January, it'll be 15 years that I've been there.
You do like cake decoration in the bakery?
I could write on your cake. It's not the prettiest, but what I do is I answer the phone and I help the customers and I slice the bread. And so I box everything and I'm like, so we're called
It
a
smells wonderful.
so but so I worked any hours they needed. It was never really 40 hours, so it could be like 36 or below. So they always just like took on my mom had just retired right before I had Emmy too. So she would watch Emmy whatever hours I would work. And then at 2.5, when Emmy got her feeding tube, I just went down to weekends. So
Yeah.
now I stay home and I like run Emmy to her doctor's appointments and therapies. And I stay home during the week and then I just work weekends.
Well, that works out really well. Like, it's nice to have your mom and sister, I bet.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's kind of a big thing. Um, when I was trying to think of like how I would like, so when you first got the G tube, did you have any problems as far as like just anything with the G tube? Can you think of anything that like what
Um, threw
did
up
it?
a lot.
She,
So a lot. And her anxiety was high and she had really bad acid reflux. So basically, she was on survival mode before we got her G tube. She just drank enough to survive.
yeah,
So so you have a little stomach and now they're like wanting to make it huge. So the nutritionist and like the GI doctors, they just kept pushing. You need to do this, this, and this. You're not understanding that like she drank little and now you want much. So that was hard. So like I also did something. Oh, can I give advice to a mom, like to moms out there
yes,
right now?
that's what we're here for. Please do.
If you don't like your kid's doctor, switch. Don't
Yeah.
just stay, just switch. I didn't like her GI doctor. We were in the hospital and I kind of like, he didn't know I left him, but I left him and just listened to our pediatrician who we loved until we were able to get to a good GI doctor. And we have been with him since she was like 2.5 and now she's 6. So I would say if you don't like a doctor, don't stay.
Yeah, or a therapist, right? Like anything, if it's not going well.
It's not going well, don't stay. Or if
Yeah.
like the like getting them like to pick up on like not in sign language isn't bad, but like if your child does talk like and they do sign language or grunting or pointing and you don't want your kid to do that, just switch. And
Yeah,
I don't mean by sign language, like there's nothing wrong with that. It was just that my daughter was able to talk and everything. And so and this like, she would like have her do something else and I'm like, but what are you doing? That's not helping us at home. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think that's really, really good advice. I feel like that's something that I was hesitant, especially with therapists, because I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, like,
Yeah.
oh, next time it'll be better, or
Yeah.
and then you get worried that you won't find another therapist. Like it took
Mhm.
us this last time, it took us like 4 months to get a PT when we moved. And oh, but they should have PT. And then our PT has started coming. And I mean, I think you should give a little bit of grace right at the beginning and be like, wait till we like find our groove. But I think if you start to just feel like, because we interact so often with these people, I think
Mhm.
it's important that you guys get along. I mean, not everybody is for everybody. They can be a
Yeah.
really good, right? A really good doctor, really good PT, but just not for you. So
Mhm. And another advice is that you can go with like a new doctor that's like just new or new like therapist because we've done brand new feeding therapist. She's, still doing stuff. And I'm like, okay, so if you want to try new things or have people that don't know exactly what they're doing, but if you're open and they're open, that works too.
yeah, I think so too. I think that you get, I mean, we've moved now twice. So we started out in Nevada, all Millie
Mhm.
stuff, and I was really my husband, we needed to move for his job to Idaho. And when we were doing that, I was like, oh, these people have known Millie since
Mhm.
like she was born. And so I felt really comfortable with them. And
Mhm.
then we moved to Idaho, and I was like, oh, I don't know. But now I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
We've been like with one therapy group, and we're starting to kind of move up because she's older. She's doing different stuff. So I think it's good to kind of like, move.
Yeah.
You need to. So I love that advice. Give me one more second. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's got that thing so loud. Had to make sure, and she's eating right now, so I just had to check her pump. I don't know what it's like having, but I don't. You can't hear it at all.
No.
Oh, good. It is so loud, and she
I,
won't. Good. Okay. Good. So I love that advice. And so when you first started, did you feel like you were kind of thrown into the deep end?
yeah. Like I just went. So when she first got her G tube, it was like kind of lonely. It was like, but it was also during the shutdown. We were trying to be really careful. So like I literally like wore two masks to work, and all that stuff. And it got better though. Like so when she had an IEP when she turned 3.
Okay.
So she went into the school system right at like 3. She had 6 weeks left of school when she turned 3, and we were like, she needs to do it. But the her preschool teacher said, nope, no feeding pump. And we didn't want to fight it. So we were like, okay, no big deal. And at that time, she didn't have her autism diagnosis yet either. So, but she went into school and she did really good. And, you know,
So
so
she's always done really well in school, which that's awesome. I
yeah,
think.
she really liked it. School's hard for her with the learning disability because like there's something with, so the gene mutation does something with like the brain and learning and does, I don't know exactly. My mom's better at explaining that than I am, but it does something to the brain. So it makes it a little bit harder, but I guess because I've been through it, I guess the way I would say it is if I know she's doing her best, I don't care what the outcome is. As long as you're trying your hardest, I don't care.
And that's like really good advice with all these kids, right?
Yeah,
Like, your best doesn't look like every other thing,
right.
right? And moms, like our best as moms doesn't look like every other, you
Yeah.
know.
And something with feeding too. I feel like if you make a little baby step in the direction of something good, I feel like if Emmy does that and that's the rest of her life, okay. I guess
Yeah.
if they make a step and that's what they're doing, awesome. Who cares what other people say?
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I learned the most with Millie is just it doesn't matter what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Like we're just doing the way we can, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So so 6 years. So what is she? You said that she's not like chewing, but she has like a nutrition, but she's able to drink it.
Right, correct. So blended food, that's something else I would recommend. If you're G tube, little kid or buddy, whatever we want to call them, are having issues with like acid reflux and like regurgitation, if you do blended food, it's harder to come back up. It stays down more. And you can make your own homemade blend food or you can get it through like your insurance.
Yeah, we so ours Millie's on Nourish, which is like a blended food. So
Mhm.
a it's like everything yellow you can imagine. So squash and pumpkin and so all of her clothes are stained yellow.
Yeah.
Everything yellow.
And it gets moldy really easy too.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's really good. I mean, because it's all food,
Yeah.
right? Have any chemicals in hers. So I'm really happy with having picked the new Nourish. But it's you know, I feel like it's tricky to get the right of everything. You said that she threw up a lot, and
Yeah.
we dealt with a lot of throwing up. Millie has a fundoplication, so she's not supposed to be able to throw up. So when she does, it's like throwing up through a straw. It's horrific. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. Like, oh, it's
yeah.
I've gotten it in my face. I just gotten a shower and she's gotten it in my hair. I mean, you name it. Oh yeah. But
It's
like I think with her like anxiety and her getting older, it gets better. And like the acid reflux and regurgitation is a lot better. But it's also because she's taking more by mouth. So
yeah,
another
got a lot more distance too, right? They say there's something to that.
mhm.
Like as
And
they
the more they take by mouth, it's easier because that's more like how it's supposed to be than going through the tube. That's what her doctor said.
well, of course, you're not just like sticking it.
Yeah.
We had a doctor's appointment yesterday and we were talking about bowel movements and things. And she's like, yeah, well, we're just sticking tons of nutrition right into her gut. You know,
Yeah.
it can be hard on a little system. So, what things do you find have really gotten better as she's gotten older, as far as like, well, kind of in every aspect, like as far as you being like how do you feel as a mom like able to handle all of the things that come because there's more things that have come like you've had autism recently and like what do you feel like the difference is in even just your reactions between like when you first like 2 years old or 4 years ago
Yeah.
and versus like now when you get a new diagnosis do you feel like you roll with it better or how do you feel like
I think to me, if I get a new diagnosis, hey, we're gonna get extra help, more help now. But I'm also gonna say that I also got help. I got on antidepressants
Okay.
Not because I was depressed, but just, everything was going on and all that stuff. And so mamas out there, it is okay to get help and take medicine. I'm not saying push it and do it and that's all you should do, but that's what I'm doing and it's helped so much. I'm gonna be
No,
honest, I wish I would have done it a lot sooner because I think I would have been happier and had more happier memories, you know what I mean? Than always being angry and upset.
absolutely. I think that whatever you need to do to
Yeah.
take care of yourself, it's really hard because you're right in the trenches of it, right? And probably for you, I was just kind of like thinking back. We've known this about Millie from the minute she was born, right? So we didn't have any, well, the minute we got involved, but we didn't have any like wondering because you went from like a 2-year-old where you felt like things were probably pretty normal to this.
Right. 18 months, right? We thought things were pretty normal until she started getting like the seizures and the headaches and stuff. And at like 13 months old, she can't tell us, hey, this hurts.
Sure.
So yeah, so it was kind of like, oh, what's going on? And fingers were being pointed. And it's the worst when like you have a video or something and neurology goes, oh, that's GI. And GI goes, oh, that's neurology. And it's not helping any of us. And then you show your pediatrician, and your pediatrician goes, this is what you need, do. And then that works. And it's like, but two specialists were like not,
Yeah,
helping.
as pediatricians, it's
Mhm.
good to find a good pediatrician
Yeah.
because our pediatrician, I loved the one in Nevada. Our one here, I like her and I don't like her office, which is really hard because
Yes, because that's who you deal with.
I know, and I almost have switched just because of her office. In fact, I told her, I'm like, if you're ever thinking about moving offices, it would be really good because they're just miserable to work with. You know,
Hmm.
we're not here to talk about me, but I will tell you the funniest story just because this is. I called when we were moving to their office, and they said, "Okay, Can you bring in her file?" And I'm like, okay, do you want on a jump drive? Do you want discs? What do you want? And they're like, no, just paper. And I'm like, oh, and like, no. This is not the paper file kind of thing. And they would not get over it. They called me like 2 or 3 times and told me to print it out. And I was like, and so I finally messaged the doctor and I said, can you talk to your staff and tell them that that you have no desire to have this in paper? Because what would she do with that?
Right.
Like they need, and she talks about it all the time. Like this last time we were doing something and she started laughing and she's like, because when I open Millie's files, I just search keywords in order to get the information, right? And she's like, it's so funny. I imagine what would I do with, I mean, it would have been like 4 legal boxes.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like, her file is ridiculous. And so, anyway, so I think it's kind of hard. And it's such a weird thing because so I have 6 children besides
And you
Millie.
look great. You look so good. I have one and it's hard, but you look.
You are so sweet. I think genetics are kind of a thing, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I got a good one, but thank you so much. Recently, but I will tell you, when you were talking about taking care of yourself,
Mhm.
like between when I got Millie and probably just only like 4 or 5 months ago, I gained so much weight. And I was so like, I didn't end up going on antidepressants or anything, but I was just so miserable.
Mhm.
Like, I was just so like with myself,
Yeah.
like I didn't want to get dressed in the morning and and I couldn't have time to do my hair. And then I found this thing and I just wrap it around my hair at night so that it looks like I took a lot of time in the morning. So I did that, and it worked out. But I finally, like about 4 or 5 months ago, I was like, this is making me more miserable.
Mhm.
And I have a really good friend who she gets up and showers and like gets ready every single morning. And I was kind of watching her and I was, okay, I'm going to try it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm ready,
Mhm. Right.
you know? And I think for me, and everybody has their thing, but I think for me, it like made me turn the corner into, okay, I can face all of this. And I don't know if it's the age, like she's older now, so I'm a little more
Mhm.
capable. I don't know, but I look back when you said that when like you look back and you think I could have been happier, right?
Mhm.
Could have
Yeah.
felt better. And I was thinking that same thing. I'm like, I went on this diet and I started to lose weight and I started to feel more like me. And I think it's probably like whatever you were pre, you
Mhm.
know, like
Yep.
pre having Millie join our family, I was really active and I was, at one point I was like doing marathon, like training for marathon. And so then I went to having Millie and I just like dropped everything, like no working out, no, because you can't take him to the gym,
Right.
right? Like she couldn't go to the gym play place. First of all, because she'd get sick. And
Yeah.
second of all, because they're not going to do a G tube and oxygen,
Yeah.
and so you just like find these things that that are you. And I
Mhm.
think that's kind of what you were saying was like you got on this medicine and it was like, oh, I could be happy, you
Yeah.
know.
Or something else. Me and my daughter, we do our nails now together.
Oh, look how cute.
We paint our nails and we put
Oh,
stickers.
I like the flowers.
So that's something else moms might want to do with their daughters. It's a nice bonding thing. Something
I
have a whole lot of like choices. So she picks the fingernail polish and even if it doesn't match and the stickers and on we go.
I think that that's exactly like, and I almost was thinking about like just when you were talking, then just right now, like when you said that, I was thinking, how do we figure out how to do like normalcy,
Mhm.
normal, right? Whatever our normal is, how do we add in like previous? I think for the last few months, that's been like my big thing. And I really like people. And so I'm so excited that like people are joining the group and not only joining, like coming and talking to me. You're
Mhm.
like, that we can have friends. Like I used to do that, but your circle gets so small
Yeah.
and your best friends don't understand.
Nope. Or
Like,
they date and that doesn't help.
yeah,
That's
all my friends live out of state. Yeah. But like I had this thing happen where one of my really good friends, we've gotten older, but and so like all my other kids are older and I could have been doing different things, but now
right.
I'm at home again,
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so she's got all of her kids in high school.
Hmm.
And she was like, I'm planning this trip, but you can't probably come because you've chosen, like, she's like, well, it's a choose your own adventure. And like, now I'm going to go on trips and now you're going
Yeah.
to have Millie, which if I had to pick, of course I would pick Millie,
Hmm.
right? But at the
Right.
same time, like, okay, you know,
Hmm.
what did I lose? And so it's kind of that thing where you're like, okay, I'm going to, we're going to start doing things like
Hmm.
I'm going to exercise a little bit differently and I'm going to curl my hair in the morning or whatever, whatever it is, so that you can start feeling like, but I think it's really hard. So I guess that's what I was kind of getting at. I think it's really hard when
Well,
all the other moms are in a different place.
really hard because like you like so like before I found out Emmy had all her medical stuff. That's how I kind of put everything medical stuff. I wanted her to go to a daycare and I wanted this and I wanted that. Well, you know what? I've totally changed to where like if I want her on like a soccer team, I want that coach to know about special needs. I don't want to just push Emmy there because like I can yell at my kid, but I don't want you to. And how do I know that you're not going to like keep your patience with her because she's a handful? You know,
Yeah.
so like I'm in a world where I want kind of like where it's like special needs maybe all the time. And some parents don't want that. They want their kids to be like, oh, everything, I'd rather have her around people that understand her. Like it's nice, like they have we have different things that in ME school and they have an end of the year picnic. It is so nice. All the kids run around. There's no, oh my gosh, she's doing that, looks pointing, nothing. Everybody takes everybody for who they are. That is so nice. And the parents, they get it. It is so nice. Like I went on a play date and the mom's texting me, oh, I'm sorry, we're running late. Her anxiety's high. I'm like, that's okay. I get it. Like it was like no big deal.
Yeah.
It's
I think that's so important. I think it's important to find people, even in this group, like, I have noticed when I get on there and people are like making comments about things, it just feels like, oh, I'm not around this morning. You know,
Right. Yeah, like I get it. Like your kid might behave and I don't have that behavior, but I get it because we're all together and we all get it. Yeah.
so I think that's really like, I think it's really special to find people where you feel like you know, you connect. Or
Yeah.
even just that if you say something like, we had a problem with the food all night long,
Yeah.
or like I haven't slept in forever or whatever else.
Get it, yeah. Cause like, oh my gosh. So Emmy has oral sensitivity. Man, we've lost 4 teeth. I feel we're back to like baby stage at teething. Fingers in the mouth, my mouth hurts. OMG. It is like, and like some people might not get that. Her first 2 teeth that she lost, she swallowed. Because she wouldn't open her mouth up enough for
Yeah,
us to try.
I haven't even, you're just like blew my mind. I haven't even thought about losing teeth. Like, oh my gosh, we're just barely getting them in stuff.
Well, I feel like she's 6, but then like with the feeding, because she doesn't tell me she's hungry,
Right.
like, all that stuff. So like I feel like we're still at the newborn stage because we're like, okay, you got to sit and you got to eat, you know. And it's hard because like it'll take her like 2 hours to drink, but you know what? We're sitting there and we're gonna do it. Some people don't get that.
Yeah, they don't understand what goes into it. So do you when she eats, you have to be with her?
So I do. I sit with her, and like so she drinks. Have you ever seen a honey bear cup?
Yeah.
That's how she drinks her because the blended food's thicker. So anyway, so I'll turn on TV or she'll talk to my dad, grandpa. She's got to talk to grandpa every day. So, but we usually like if she's behaving and earns everything, she'll watch TV, but I'll have to like knock her, hey, you got to keep drinking, hey. But then on the weekends, my mom might like sit her up and have TV, and then my mom might go do a load of laundry or something. So, when it takes like longer, or sometimes, she'll tell my mom, oh, I don't want to have it anymore. And my mom will go, okay. So it's a little different when like mom's not around, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you find scheduling for your thing? So what therapies is Emmy in?
Okay, so she was in outside of school, she was in PT, but her behaviors, I decided to stop. So over the summer, we were in PT and we did intensive feeding therapy, which helped. So like, but this was like not stressed. So it was like play based and just all that stuff. And I liked it. And it was like a couple hours, like for like 3 days, and then off for a couple days, and you did it again. But then they were like, oh, we're going to take a break. And they also took our favorite feeding therapist and put her inpatient. So she couldn't even come outpatient to help. So at the moment, she's not really in any like outside therapy because actually, I should say we just started some. So she's doing a talk therapy for her behaviors. It's like a talk therapy type play therapy. She's been to 2 and has been helping. Well, they've been getting to know each other, and she kicked me out. So that's like a good thing. When Emmy kicks you out, she's comfortable and says, goodbye, you can leave. And then we're doing Ohio Guidestone again, and we're gonna do like Emmy's gonna get help. So I'm hoping that like the therapist and like the Ohio Guidestone they can connect. And we're also gonna do family therapy, and we're gonna do parenting classes too.
Okay. Hold on one second. I've got
Yep.
a milk spraying. She might come sit on my lap. She's got herself worked up about something. We had kind of a hard feeding last night, so
Oh, I get it. We can't do night feeds because of her acid reflux and everything. She'll just throw it all up.
yeah, it's funny because I was so against night feeds when we first started. I just was like, that's the most unnatural thing I've ever heard of. Who wants to sleep and have their stomach be full at the
Right.
same time? Sorry, we're just gotta get her out of the center. So I was like, who wants to, eat and have their stomach be filling? And I just thought it was so unnatural. And so we were doing bolus with syringe, and she did so great, like so great for so long. And then all of a sudden, nothing. She was throwing everything up. And I was getting no sleep because she was miserable and she lost like 3 pounds. And she doesn't have 3 pounds to lose.
Yep.
And I was so miserable. And they are like, you need to try overnight feeds. And I was like, no, I think it's so unnatural. And it's been really good. But last night, she just had an issue and she threw up a little bit. And anyway, we were up, we were up a long time with it.
I get it. We used to have a rocking chair in our kitchen where she would snuggle while she was hooked up. Like it was like a nice, comfy rocking chair.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Oh, you're so cute.
You say hi. See, I was giving myself a, we're so upset for a minute. So tell me a little bit about autism. We are, that's like one of the things that's on kind of our radar as far as,
So girls, I don't know if you know, but girls kind of have their symptoms different than boys.
yeah.
Emmy wasn't really talking um at like 2.5, like I told you, but getting the feeding tube that helped. It's just like she doesn't look in your eyes all the time, want to look at you, and don't really know how to explain it. Like just answering all those questions just helped, like she shows differently. Like she's very like, hi, how are you? And she'll be all up in your space. She doesn't know any like, okay, give me space, give me, like time. She doesn't know any of that. She likes to be all up in people, but um I guess it's just I don't know how to explain it now because like people are believing me now, and like and other doctors are like, yep, she's on the autism spectrum. So I guess
But
like, oh, go ahead.
no, what have you found? Like, have you found things that you feel like help?
Yes. So it has helped with her anxiety to get a weighted vest. So we use a weighted vest when she's really anxious about something or if she's like overstimulated, but it's more like if she's anxious about something. And I got her vest on Amazon. You don't even know like a weighted vest because weights in it. It's really nice. And
Oh,
then have you ever heard of a Z Vibe?
yes. Yeah, she uses one.
Yeah, so we used it. So she was using it in therapy for feeding therapy, and then we got it and we used it for when she was anxious. But we have a dead battery, but she used it when she was anxious, like if she was going to go to a doctor's appointment, she'd be able to hold it and everything. And we have one of those headphone things that close out the sound.
Okay. And has she always done pretty good with the headphones? Millie will not wear headphones at
Mhm.
all.
Well, but I also have the headphones to where it doesn't look like I shouldn't like be like this, but like those headphones kind of look like you're out doing yard work.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
can
got
always.
I got a pair from Target, okay, that you can also click into your phone or your computer and it'll play music. So the ones that she wears doesn't look like it's like hard and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're softer, but she wears them pretty good.
Yeah,
Does she play on tablets? Like, do you do any of that?
not all the time. So we call it like a tablet, but she has one of those leapfrog ones.
Okay.
So it's more of a learning one. And so we'll let her play on that. Or she has this cute little camera that she can play games on or take pictures and videos of. So we'll let her play on that. She does watch like TV while she's eating. So she has breakfast. So it's kind of like a normal thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But we're up early too. We're up at 5 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
So but like when she's like at home, like she likes to play with like little
Against my will.
what was that?
I said we are too, but it's against my will.
Oh, see, I'm a morning person, but then we're sleeping. So we're up at like 5, but then we're sleeping before 7.
That's crazy. I can't get. I have all these teenagers in the house.
I don't see, at least that's one thing. I have like one. And then my mom and my sister, they just stay quiet and they watch TV and they do their thing because then like the whole house is to themselves.
That's so nice in that way. Well, so how do you find like how do you find friends or people's reactions that like other moms at school do you have any support in that way?
Yeah, it's cool. Like I have some like, well, so one nice thing when she went to the public school, they were it was mixed. So you had your peers and then the kids with IEPs. So there was one mom that was like super open and her child was just a peer. So she didn't have an IEP, her daughter didn't. And it was nice because like she was really easygoing and so was I. So like if her daughter said like, "Oh, well, Emmy's not doing it like this. And we just kind of both said, it's okay. You know, people do things differently. And it was really nice because the mom was a doctor. So she didn't care if Emmy came up and threw up in her house. You know what I mean? Like she got all that stuff. But I guess I'm going to like say something opposite because you asked like how I had friends. But like, I guess I was going to say like, so we have a gym membership and there's a pool, an inside pool. So the way I go about it, that if Emmy acts differently than other kids and there are parents around, I just come out and say she's on the autism spectrum. So then if she says something, does something, I already explained it. I don't feel like I need to, you know, keep going. So I'm like one of those open people that says everything all the time. So that's how I also become friends or acquaintances. Like I talk to everybody at my job, like all the customers, but I also have lived like where I am for over 40 years. So we've been in the same house for over 40 years now.
That's so nice. That's a really nice thing. Like, so you have neighbors who know you and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
a community. That's good. Um, okay. I was trying to think of like some of the other autism. I do have autism questions, and I was trying to think of like, so when you do the IEPs, how do you feel when you do IEPs? Because I know that a lot of people struggle with
Yeah.
those
Because it's
conversations.
right, because it's hard. I guess I'm just like, let's make those like choices, those like, you know, steps or those goals, and we'll try and make them and do all that stuff. The one thing I don't like is that I feel like if you have a doctor's diagnosis of my kid has autism, I don't feel like it's fair that the school says, well, we have to test them and then we have to vote. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
A nice thing though was that like when we were trying to get the autism as number one, because like I don't know if you know about this, but like so when they have an IEP, it might just be like, oh, learning disability, and then like other things. And like your like autism could be number five. And then you don't get like the autism scholarship or anything because it's not your number one.
Okay.
So, and then the teachers, like, so your teacher, the therapist, like all these people vote to say yes or no if they think your kid has autism. So they
Oh,
test, yeah, so they test your kid on all the different things, and then they like tally up the scores, and then they say, yay or nay.
right.
So that's hard. But because they knew that we wanted Emmy to go to that private school, and so even though she's not like in the public school, we can still take her scholarship and take it and have it help to what school you can go to.
So that testing that you're talking about was at the public school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they decided, like, so they said autism, yes, and
Mm-hmm.
learning disability, yes. And then
Yeah.
yeah,
So
then
her number one diagnosis was autism, and then her learning disability was like under that.
okay. And
And
that's what happened.
so right, and so that's when we first started, before we got the autism diagnosis from a doctor, her number one was just like global learning disability.
And
So,
has she delayed? You said that she was delayed a little bit with rolling.
and because she had low muscle tone, we didn't know she had low muscle tone until like we started therapy. I think at like was it like a year? Yeah, because she was so Emmy was having like different seizures where she like kind of get dizzy and then fall. So she was taking her first step, she had a dizzy thing and fell on her nose and then refused to walk anymore. So she was already crawling and then she started crawling on her knees instead of like standing up and walking.
Scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. So, um, with her, so that's when you started to notice because everything was delayed a little bit. How about
Every
now?
So the rolling over, so everything was literally delayed. Her rolling over, her sitting up, her crawling, her walking. So everything was.
Have they talked about the low muscle tone having anything to do with her eating difficulties?
That's not helping either. So like I don't know if your daughter has acid reflux or not, but like when she's tired, so when Emmy is tired, her acid reflux is like way worse because you know like she's tired and the muscles are just getting bad.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of things
Yeah.
as far as, but motility, I know even we're talking about motility yesterday, as far as just, so Millie's really low muscle tone until her legs, which are, they have hypertonia, so they're more, they have, the tone is too much or whatever that, I don't know how they say
Mhm.
it, but so her legs, we actually get Botox in her legs to kind of relax some of the muscles. But I don't
Mhm.
know that muscle tone, can feed into some of these gastro problems. So what is the outlook as far as Emmy's like? Does it look like eventually she'll start eating at first? Okay.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm gonna say it's her choosing. That's the way I like to tell people. It's her choosing that she's not chewing. So she could swallow. There's nothing wrong with her swallow. There's nothing wrong with chewing. There's nothing wrong with everything. But when they misdiagnosed her with concussion instead of seizures, she was throwing up a lot. So that wasn't helping. And then her acid reflux, we weren't on meds yet because we didn't know about her acid reflux. So there was a lot of throwing up at the time where you learn to chew.
So right now she just has some hesitance. She just
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah.
Because she
She
was like, oh, I
aversion.
eat bread. So like at like 3 years old and below, she says are babies. So she's like, when I was a baby, I used to eat bread. Yeah, she used to eat like some things or like chew it or like put it in her mouth. She might end up spitting it out, which I thought was normal, but that wasn't normal. But anyways, I was like, well, do you want to try bread? She goes, oh no, my belly doesn't like it. That's what she told me. So it's just trying to tell her that it's okay to like it. So like she'll have yogurt and she'll do pudding, but it's also like, hey, you gotta take another bite. She could just sit there all day and watch TV and not have any bites at all.
Okay. So, but you think like in the future she will start like
I,
that'll
yeah.
sounds like
So,
it.
so the doctors say that like it's like kind of like not peer pressure, but it's more like as she gets older and she's sitting there with other kids that are eating, she's gonna want to eat or at least do something. He's told me that like he's had kids where they're just all too fed, and all of a sudden they want to sit up and have lunch with them if that's drinking or like doing blended food or something. So they say that like that helps.
Yeah, she likes to try to, I mean, she likes to try to taste
Hmm.
when we're eating because they do. I don't, peer pressure, is it like it's social norms maybe that they like look around and they see the social like aspect of it. Yeah, that's a good one. And she'll do that because not everybody's has feeding problems at her school. It's
Yeah,
just
no one that I know of has feeding problems. So she's the only one that has the honey bear cup.
okay. So there will be like, hopefully, as she gets a little older, a
Mhm.
little more cognizant of what's going on around
Because
her.
so she's in first grade and so they have snack time. So I pack pretzels every day for her. She'll be like, oh, I ate my pretzels, which I know she did not eat her pretzels, but she puts it in her mouth because like at one part she wouldn't even put any food in her mouth. So this is like huge.
Yeah,
She'll eat like oh, what are they called? Fruit snacks. She'll do fruit snacks. But
okay.
it's like little baby bites. Hey, however you do it. And so she doesn't have two front teeth or two bottom teeth. And that's how she was like, would take her bites. So I'm trying to tell her, okay, you got to do it at the side now.
Right. Trying to learn. And as far as like verbal, you said she talks, she didn't have any
Oh,
delay in
mm-mm.
communication. Oh,
No,
that's
plays in communication. She is in speech because like her L's and R's and stuff.
good.
But like you could totally like talk to her, have a conversation with her.
Nice.
She
That's
loves
great.
like talks nonstop. And Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig is like one of her favorite TV shows.
I know, I think were you the one who posted something that you got a Peppa Pig something? Maybe I
Me.
saw it somewhere.
But I Peppa Pig, what else is it? Gabby Dollhouse is like iffy. Um, it's on PBS. Sid the Science Kid, and who is the bear? Why can't I think of him?
I don't know. All my kids were so like everything new. I have a hard time because she only likes like three movies. That's it.
Yep.
And
Oh, that yes.
my
Emmy will.
I didn't. My other kids weren't like that. I mean, they had like movies they liked, but they weren't like on replay. So we only watched the three.
Oh, I get that. That's like an autism thing where they only like. Oh, and Emmy likes routine. She likes things done a certain way. I mean, if we break the routine, she doesn't have a meltdown or anything, but she'll let you know.
Yeah, but you can tell.
Oh
And
yeah.
so what do you think? I'm going to have a therapist show up in about 5 minutes. So we're wrapping up. But what do you think? Like, if you had to look back and talk to yourself, you know, right before she was 13 months old, so like right before her first birthday, what do you think you would have said to you, like as far as encouragement and advice?
Um,
Weird question.
Like,
Sorry.
oh no, you're good. Like, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna get through it. You're gonna be a strong person. And I probably should have done feeding therapy sooner and figured things out and like gotten like, well, I can't even say a team ready yet because we didn't even know about her diagnosis yet. You know what I mean? So, because like before that, we were still like, so like she's never been on like regular milk. She's always been on some kind of formula. So, because like at 13 months or at like a year, I was like, oh no, no, she's not ready yet. So she
Right.
from like baby formula to toddler formula. And then we went, so we've always been on formula. So I would just say to myself, we'll figure it out. You're a strong person. Because like when I was with her dad, it was usually just me doing a lot of it, because we weren't living together or anything. So, but just you're going to be, I'd say any moms, you're going to do it. You're going to be strong and you're going to get through it.
Yeah, I think that's like the best advice ever. I think that it's really good for moms, 6 years down the road to look at these. We have a gal in our group who her son got a G tube on Tuesday. And I was just like thinking about her a lot and thinking, what would I have said? Like,
It's
but
not as scary as what you think. I
it's
guess
not.
I gave someone advice. I go, once you get a routine and everything's calm, you're going to be calm. Like it's going to be okay. And I wish I would have known that a long time ago.
Yeah, and not gotten so like worried, like the first time, like I kind of say, like I was thinking, there'll be a moment when you're like snapping a G tube back in the back seat of your car and not even blinking, right? Like,
Emmy's only came out once.
oh, you are lucky. We do
Oh,
this every day. She's
yo,
a she's a
Emmy
monster.
mess with her button. She'll show people, I have a button and lift up her shirt and be like, it glows in the dark.
She is the sweetest little monster. She pulls it out all the time.
Yeah,
She
I
pulled
don't
it
have.
out this morning again. I don't know what her deal is. Yesterday she choked on it. I I have to watch her all the time.
We have that opposite problem. Emmy will put like her fingers or toys up by her mouth, but like nothing goes in it. Like as a baby, she was normal with things putting in her mouth, but no, no, that's something I don't have to worry about.
We have never, this is the only thing she'll put in her mouth. Is this,
Really?
she's never put a toy, nothing. This is like her fingers and her tube. I don't know what the situation is. I am, I can like giggle today, but man, it is so.
Yes, it's hard because Emmy will get, I get it. So, like, so no, I don't have like that problem, but I have other things where she's so set on things. Like, she loves to talk about when she was a baby. Why did I cry? Why did I do this? I get it. They get stuck. They do, like, oh, yes.
You get like stuck on this thing. Well, it has been so awesome to meet you. It
Yes.
is,
Thanks for having this group. I'm like, I really like, I'm not alone and it's nice.
you are not alone. And I know that there's some other people that are doing autism. I think we're starting some testing with OT, and it's good to like hear from moms and and if there's anything you ever want to talk about again, if you have like something really specific, let's do
Yeah.
it again.
Or
And
want to just chat like this just to chat and
I
have,
do.
because like I'm looking for friends.
Have you, I don't know if you're interested in the Bible study, but we would love you to come to that. But also is it on Tuesday that we do I can't even remember. I have to look at my calendar for everything. On Tuesday, we do that little coffee group, and that is,
Okay.
Yep, Tuesday.
is it Tuesday? Thank you, Jackson. He's my calendar. I just have everything in my calendar. But on Tuesday, come and whenever you see that little live thing at the top, you can click on it, and there's a bunch of people who came last time. And
Okay.
I love this. Like, I love that you're open to telling me all of I think that's the thing I found about special needs moms that I love the most. Like,
Mhm.
we're kind of all willing to say all the stuff that maybe people aren't willing to say. Like, I had a rough night and throw up and
Oh, yeah, I get it. Changing sheets in the middle of the night.
yeah,
But if you know people that like are having a hard time or something and you think that like I could help, you can tell them to reach out to me
I will.
anytime.
I will. I'm trying to get a really good pulse on like who's got what going on, but
Yeah.
for sure come to those meetings because I think that that's where people are going to meet people that are in a more similar situation.
Yeah.
I really do. I just think, and I just like, every single one of you, I meet you and I think, wow, like you're a strong woman and you
Yeah.
are doing amazing things. Like you're
Hmm.
doing amazing things. And your daughter is so blessed to have you. I know you're probably like me and are like, no, I'm blessed to have her, but it's both ways. It goes both ways. And so, like just from everything you said with the school that you found, I'm just impressed always by
Yeah.
every mom that I meet. Like, you know, and so that's from me to you is just keep going. And anyway, we're just so happy that you did this.
Thanks. And your little one, she's so cute.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she doesn't talk, but she
Oh,
lets you know.
I was gonna say she doesn't have to talk. She'll let you know.
All right, her therapist just got here, so it was so nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Bye.